From taxes and tariffs to trade, issues facing corporate America are front and center in the race for the White House. One company in focus on the campaign trail, McDonald's. Yahoo Finance's Washington correspondent Ben Werkschul joins me now with more. Ben, so a point of your piece, which is a great one, is we see Harris and Trump now talking a whole lot about the golden arches. Does it matter, Ben?
Well, I think it definitely matters for the campaign. I'm taking to calling it the McDonald's primary that's going on right now. And a couple stats to throw at you to kind of set this up, which I think shows why they're reaching out to McDonald's. 9 in 10 Americans, according to the company, eat at McDonald's once a year. So it's a very familiar brand, which everybody knows. And even more than that, 1 in 8 Americans has worked at McDonald's at some point in their life. And that's what Kamala Harris is picking up on, because she's talked for the last 2 years about how she worked at McDonald's this summer when she was in college. She worked apparently at an Oakland chain, in an Oakland branch there. And she's been talking about that recently in speeches and in in at least one campaign ad. And Trump, who, as we all know, isn't shy about being photographed at McDonald's, is pushing back on that. So there's been a lot of back and forth there. And it definitely matters to get to your question for the campaign, because they're trying to kind of show they're relatable and show their appeal to as many people as they can. As for the company's bottom line, there's a lot less there. There's a bunch of issues that McDonald's is in the middle of: minimum wage, unionization efforts that could become important in 2025. But a lot of this is kind of campaign theatrics at the moment.
So I guess that you're kind of going where I wanted to, Ben. I was curious how you think this ultimately affects or impacts, if at all, McDonald's. Do we have a beat on that? Can we look at history for any kind of guide?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big issue for McDonald's right now is minimum wage efforts. There was a bill that was passed and signed in California and went into effect this year to make the minimum wage for fast food workers $20 across California. That's a big deal for the company. They've been very vocal about that. And there's efforts in other states to adopt a similar idea. One detail I uncovered in the story was that McDonald's donated to a bunch of legislators in Oregon at the state level, in Oregon and Illinois. And not coincidentally, those are 2 states that are considering similar laws. So that's really the kind of front and center issue for McDonald's at the moment. Harris has spoken about this in the past. She wants to raise the minimum wage for everyone and has talked about McDonald's specifically. But a lot of their efforts politically, or at least at the state level, and that could impact their bottom line. You know, whether Harris or Trump gets votes off of McDonald's is less matter for them. And McDonald's has been through this for years and years. I went back to sort of old Bill Clinton stuff for the story as well, that, you know, he's been going to McDonald's for a long time, or at least used to. So they've been in the spotlight for a long time, but there's a few issues that matter for them.
And Ben, I'm just curious, when it comes to federal lobbying issues, how active is McDonald's?
Yeah, so far this year they've been kind of at a similar level of recent years. It's $1.4 million so far this year, which is about on pace for them. They're involved with Congress, obviously, but also the National Labor Relations Board. There's proposals there that could change, you know, their unionization efforts, how franchises operate, and things like that. And the minimum wage is obviously a big issue in Washington, although that's been spent at $7.25 an hour, the federal minimum wage, for a long time. So there's lots of issues they're involved with there. A lot of them, none of them are sort of right on the front burner at the moment as much as these state level issues.
Ben, great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.